ladies and gentlemen, introducing...
So as we're journeying towards this real significant milestone in Emerald Guitar's history, building Guitar 10,000, we've been looking back through some of the stories that are in the book, Building Stories One Guitar at a Time. And really one of the most significant stories in my entire career was the story of Bahamut. And I suppose it was significant in a few ways. It's significant because it's such an iconic and unique guitar, but also of how it brought me back into the world of guitar making. If you don't know the full story of the Emerald Guitar's history, I made the very first guitar way back in 1998. Emerald Guitars as a business started off really around about end of 99 and into 2000. Started developing guitars at that stage. And then we became a business. We started building quite a range of guitars, had a dealer network in America, but in truth, it wasn't ready to go. So reluctantly, I ended up closing down Emerald Guitars sort of sometime around about 2007, 2006, 2007. And I took a little bit of a break to focus on other things. The world financial crash came, everything got wiped out, my other business got wiped out, and we found ourselves in a real state of turmoil. Trying to work out what we were going to do. And the world sometimes gives you these great little moments that can pull you right back to where you're supposed to be. So one morning I got a phone call, and it was this guy who was trying to get hold of me for apparently a few weeks. His boss was looking for a guitar, and his boss was this musician called Wang Leehom. I'd never heard tell of him. But it was very interesting. It was an unusual phone call. And the reason they couldn't get hold of me, I wasn't building guitars. They were wanting to get me to build a guitar, so I wasn't checking those emails. But anyway, this guy got through to me and we started talking. I got on the computer straight away, Googled who Wang Leehom was, realized that he was this Asian megastar. And he started telling me that he wanted a guitar designed. So the initial idea was that it was to be a guitar in the shape of a Chinese dragon. Told me it was going to be part of a tour, and they sent me some graphics, some logos that they already had, and suggested this was going to be a really cool thing. So I knew there was something really interesting was going to come out of it. You know, straight away there was something intriguing there. And I thought, yeah, maybe I would be interested in building another guitar. I hadn't really built anything for probably a year or more, and this was going to be quite a unique guitar. So that evening, I called my friend Rory McGowan. Rory came down, and the two of us sat down together, and we started sketching ideas. We worked on the design together, and we came up with a number of different ideas, but this is the one that stuck. So this is the actual piece of paper that it was drawn on. This is the actual drawing, and I had no idea when we drew this just how iconic that image was going to become. So we sent it off. They agreed that that was the guitar we should build and gave me a timeline. Now, something like that should take months and months to build. I built the Ultra guitar for Steve Vai. I think that took something like, well, it was spread over a year, but we think there was about 1,000 hours put into that. Leehom was giving me 6 weeks. So 6 weeks to build this masterpiece that was, you know, to be the most complex guitar I'd ever built. You know, as I've done many times, things that I'm not really sure are not possible, I'll say yes to, and then try and work out how I can do it. And so I set about building this guitar, and I can remember almost all of it. Just that the experience of kind of spending 16-hour days, getting up in the morning, going up to the workshop, and just carving, forming shapes, and it was carved out of a block of foam, covered in carbon, made in all these different components and shapes, and started being put together. And you know, slowly this thing came to life. And then I had to do the head. That was a big challenge. I'd never carved anything that was to be, you know, like a head or anything that kind of a form before. But it really started to become very real when they sent me over some images. So in the images they had created the tour logo, the tour poster, and that tour poster was like a computer generated image of the guitar that I was still currently working on, and there was images of it up the side of buildings, side of buses, going through Taiwan. I was like, wow, this is a big deal. So something I was still building was being seen in public in Taiwan on the side of buses. So that was a real buzz, you know, thinking this is going to be really cool. And in my mind, you know, I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be, you know, a guitar that's going to be used in 1 or 2 songs. It'll be, you know, a part of a big show. I didn't realize it was going to become, like, I guess, the co-star in the entire show. So we finished the guitar. Now, it was a painful birth. It was a really complex guitar to build. I wanted it to look like it was made out of molten metal. And there was this really cool paint that I had used before, a chrome paint. And I knew it was tricky to work with, but I thought it's perfect for this, give it the right look. And I remember guitar was finished, was perfect. I painted it with this beautiful chrome paint in the oven, in the spray booth. It looked amazing. Put it into the oven to cure it. Came back after lunch, looked in the oven, and the whole thing had all wrinkled. The whole finish had just gone crazy. I was devastated. I mean, we had like no extra time, no extra paint, and the whole thing now looked terrible. So I remember I was trying to contact various different suppliers, ended up finding a guy in Netherlands that was able to overnight me some more paint. Spent that whole day resanding the guitar, sanding it all back off, primed it, repainted it in exactly the same way, and thankfully the second time it didn't have that problem. So anyway, got the guitar finished, shipped it off to Taiwan. Initially I was hoping that I was going to get to hand deliver it, but it didn't work out. But it shipped it off, and I can remember that feeling of just shipping that guitar off to the other side of the world, and wondering what was going to become of it. So they sent me a video of the unboxing, and one that was fantastic, but it got deleted and disappeared somewhere, and I don't have it, which is a real pity. So if anybody out there connected to Leehom ever sees this, if you have that video, please send it to me. But I think it's long gone. So yeah, they were so enthusiastic. Then the next thing I saw was these unveiling videos. They unveiled it to the public. It was just such a huge excitement about something that I had made. I'd never experienced anything like that. You know, I'd made some really cool guitars, but never anything that was going to get this amount of global publicity. And it just kept building, you know, and I kept seeing videos from the first time it was used on stage, and you know, the crowd being so excited, and cardboard cutouts with the guitar. And then it started to grow, you know. I suppose it was one of those things, they weren't even sure of how successful it was going to be, or how big of an icon it would be. But a few shows into the whole tour, I decided I would go over. I had to go and see it for myself. So the first time I got to see it was on a trip to Kuala Lumpur, and it was so exciting, you know. Still I hadn't really got back into building guitars, but this was all going on, and really it was, I think, the thing that inspired me. I can remember going to that stadium in Kuala Lumpur, and just feeling the energy of the whole thing. Seeing Bahamut on stage, and the crowd's reaction to it, you know, like 40,000 people chanting the name of a guitar that I had made. And it was just quite overwhelming, you know. It just was so inspiring. But it was just so amazing to see something that I had made getting all that coverage around the world. And then they started to make some really cool items from it. So Leehom, the tour was called Music Man, so it was like an action figure type thing that was going on, and Bahamut was like his secret weapon. So obviously an action figure has to have an action man needs to have an action figure. So they made the action figures, the little miniature of Bahamut, which is really well made, very cool, and really captures all the details on the guitar. And so that was really cool. And then bobbleheads came out, inflatable versions. You know, it was crazy. And this was the tour T-shirt. This is the one I had from way back then that I still kept. But really, it was just such an exciting time. I seen them in Beijing, in the Workers' Stadium in Beijing. I think there was about 80,000 people there. Mind-blowing experience.
这个爱尔兰的好兄弟 Alistair is right there. 老婆可以给他一个镜头吗？ The most famous guitar in the world right here. It's from you.
But really what I took out of it was, it was the thing that inspired me to get back into guitar building. It really made me realize that the work that I was doing, it could really create emotion. I was able to make something that people would love, and I loved that feeling. So yeah, it came around at really the most important and special time. Brought us back into the world of guitars, and everything that has happened since, I guess, as a knock-on from that. But every now and again, I still have some contact with the Leehom crew, with some of the musicians in the band. Just last week, I saw he's still out there touring with the guitar and playing it in public. So yeah, just probably is the most famous guitar on the planet. And it was made right here in the hills of Donegal. So that's really, really exciting thing to be part of. So thank you, Leehom, for giving me that opportunity, and thanks to all the people around the world that have seen that guitar and responded to it, because it's inspired me.
一个英雄，他必须有一个符号。那 Music Man 就是巴哈姆特。
这次呢，反而倒过来了，他希望能够多一点吉他。当然了，他也很神神秘秘的去找了一个爱尔兰的设计师，去做了一把 Music Man 的那一把武器，那个巴哈姆特。
巴哈姆特我就知道也是一个很疯狂的想象，我也从来没有看过类似这样子的吉他，在爱尔兰。一个大师，他所有的吉他都是独一无二的作品，都是手工的。他叫 Alistair。
巴哈姆特漂洋过海，从爱尔兰第一次亮相的第一个叫声。Ladies and gentlemen, introducing. Rock and roll.